that's what we can do in this room. That's the power you have of a Mashable or a Rio+Social. And I think that's for me is very important. No one has the single solution, nor a company, nor a country. It's going to be the combination of all those brains and all those stakeholders. That's the only way I see the future moving forward. And that's why we think it's important to be here, to actually say what we think we can contribute to, but we cannot solve everything.
You know, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. Population is really your basis for your market, in a sense. I mean, you sell products, you sell services, so on and so forth. Yet we're also facing a huge population increase problem. Granted, it's finally starting to slow down a bit, and the estimates from yesteryear aren't quite as dire, or they're not quite as dire as they would have been. But this being your market, and also the crux of many of the problems that we're facing in our environment, what can we do to address things like lack of education in STEM-based educational programs and such, and use the tools that you all have developed in the most poignant of ways to further that?
Yeah, I would love to take that, but I'm not sure. But when it comes to education, we have spent a lot of time to discussing, creating forums for discuss the future of education. And of course, ICT will play a vital role there. I mean, just to getting the internet connection, as we saw this morning with the village in Pará, Sorocaba, that for the first time in their life had a classroom with 5 computers, and they were connected into this room and actually could see what is going on there. Suddenly, their whole world is opening up by bringing that solution to them. And I don't think that it should be where you're born or where you are from in the way you should going to get education. Because education in the future is going to be digital, and anybody should be able to get that type of education. And in the latest research we have seen, it would be actually better to do the lessons, the school lessons from home, and you actually do the homework at school. Because that will actually bring much more efficiency for the student to learn, to get the training individually at school, and you get the lecture sitting at home digitally. I mean, just imagine 10, 15 years from now, education can be totally different by using the technology, using the internet, and getting it to anyone that wants to study at Harvard should be able to do it.
Yeah. Oh, another one. This is from John Rice. What is the best way to translate online communities into tangible action-oriented groups offline?
Sure, so there's a few ways you can do this. I think you know, one of the most successful platforms that Mashables uses, we have an event every year. It's called Social Media Day. It's on June 30th. We use a platform called Meetup Everywhere. And, you know, the first time we did this, so there's communities all around the world, and what happens, it's very distributed, right? Because the future isn't centralized. It's all about distributed communities. So anyone in any city in the world can say, hey, I'm going to have a Social Media Day meetup. I want to meet everyone else in social media in my town. And, you know, they go to the site, Social Media Day, and they can self-organize into groups. And anyone else who's in that city will see their meetup feature that just detect where you are. And, yeah, the first time we did it, we had 11,000 people around the world all meet up so they can meet locals in their community who are interested in social media. And we're doing it again June 30th. It's just incredibly powerful because, you know, not only does it take that online network and put it offline, but those connections are lasting. So people will meet people in their own cities that are interested in the same things and they didn't know. And it's a lasting connection. They keep having meetups throughout the year, keep building on that relationship. So we find that really powerful. And there's multiple tools, but we've used Meetup Everywhere and it's been incredibly successful.
Fantastic. I mentioned earlier that I have a little grassroots nonprofit called Plant a Fish, and you know, the frustrations that we have in the field are that a lot of these communities are very poor, as you were mentioning with the favelas. They're people, they're intelligent, they want to do something good, they feel pigeonholed into their lives. And I see the advent of technology and of access to communications being the solution to be able to get them not only out of the situation, but being able to get out there and do something. In many cases, we get a chance to get them to physically go and start doing restoration projects. And the key there is that they're able to share that story of success, that story of hope. How can we propagate this to those roots that I was mentioning earlier of the tree, so that we're able to nurture a positive momentum? Because it seems that sometimes when we look up at the canopy, our governing bodies, we don't get the fruits that we're expecting.
Well, I mean, I think Ericsson's a great example of that. We don't need to wait for government to do it. That there are companies that are doing it. And you know what? This is a great opportunity as well. It's a great opportunity for the companies. It's a win-win, essentially.
No, I definitely believe that. And I said it in my previous panel. I mean, what we are doing, if we are, as we did in Amazonas, enabling that rural village together with the operator here in Brazil to get connectivity, I mean, that's good for our technology, it's good for our customers, it's good for our employees, it's good for our shareholders. So it's a win-win. I mean, I think that's the best way to do anything, is actually a benefit for everyone. And I think, that is happening with the technology we are rolling out around the world. That has a glue wherever you are. And that comes back to your question as well. I mean, I think that we're going to see more and more of social behavior where you find what you are interested in and what you want to advocate for. You're going to get more and more people hooked up to that, cross the borders and do things, because we're going to have so many more people having access to the internet, and that's going to happen the next 5 years. So the speed of change will just increase, and the good idea, the good sort of solution will be replicated very, very much faster than in history.
And I think connectivity is key. It's really incredibly transformative, and I think it's going to accelerate progress dramatically. I mean, when I started Mashable, I was a sick kid. I missed a lot of school. I had, probably like less than 50% attendance. It was terrible. I was never there. But